As we've talked about on this channel before, some movies can feel like instant therapy.
You do what's in your heart, son, you'll be fine.
This is the case with Good Will Hunting. Essentially, it's a story about a genius that doesn't know what to do with his life, so he spends his time drinking with his friends. When people talk about this movie, what usually comes up is the screenplay and the performances, and with good reason. Good Will Hunting was the very first screenplay that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon ever pitched to Hollywood.
It stars two people you may not know, but you will know a lot about in the months and years to come.
And they did an amazingly good job, especially as far as first tries go. And the acting is brilliant overall, especially by Robin Williams.
Bingo. That's it.
There's a certain rawness to his performance, where we can enjoy his sense of humor, but the weariness, the pain of a smart man who has lost the love of his life is also very noticeable.
I don't regret a single day I spent with her.
However, today we want to focus a bit more on the film technique used by Gus Van Sant's directing, combined with the wonderful screenplay that creates a dynamic combination of technical tools to evoke emotion, as well as analyzing the characters and themes that are all important to the overall composition. Will has a gift. That much is made clear from the very opening of the movie. But to be able to use his gift for good, it's gonna take a lot more emotional balance and maturity. The problem is that his life has been filled with abandonment and abuse, so this makes it hard for him to take his intelligence to its fullest potential. The opening credits are a montage that establish Will's everyday life, but instead of using a conventional technique like cutting from one moment to another, Van Sant makes use of a unique kaleidoscopic effect. This gives the viewer the impression that Will is a complicated person, made up of many pieces that make him whole, but it will be up to the viewer to put the pieces together and slowly discover who he really is.
1, 2, 3.
Throughout most of the film, very natural colors are used. Take for example when Will is in Skylar's room at Harvard, in his apartment, or in Sean's office.
You feel like you're alone, Will? What?
The dominant color here is amber. Will feels comfortable here, so the colors create a sense of warmth as they are inviting. These are the moments when Will is closest to being his real, full self. We can analyze the contrast as well. Whenever Will is in a place where he doesn't feel safe, Van Sant shifts to colder colors.
This is Sean McGuire, Will Hunting.
The obvious example is Will's first meeting with Sean. He looks at a painting and starts jabbing at Sean's personal life.
It's a real piece of shit.
As he gets closer to the painting, the lighting becomes colder, until finally, when he is right in front of it, the sunlight shines hard on his face, creating a look similar to an overexposed photograph. This creates an impersonal feeling of unrest and cold calculation by Will. It's a great example of how a complete shift in mood can be created within a single shot.
Well, that's it, isn't it? Ever disrespect my wife again, I will end you.
It's in this scene where Will realizes that Sean may not be like the other therapists he has been seeing.
You move, Chief.
Their meetings are therapy for both of them, as it becomes apparent how damaged they both really are. Like with the use of color, Van Sant is able to make very strong statements with different camera angles and shots. Right after Will's first meeting with Sean, we get to see Sean's apartment. It's dirty, and we see Sean drinking at the table. To illustrate that the meeting affected him deeply, he's placed in the right portion of the screen and the glass of whiskey in the left, but it seems that the glass is dominant in this scene, making the whiskey the one in control of Sean in this particular moment. But the best example of camera use in the entire film is the famous scene with Will and Sean at the pond.
You're a tough kid.
Excellent writing and a perfect performance from Robin Williams is matched by outstanding directing by Gus Van Sant. Through most of the scene, the only shot is a close-up of Sean. The camera stays on him, but it pans very slowly to eventually include Will in the shot.
Because that only occurs when you love something more than you love yourself.
This simple but extremely effective technique communicates that Sean is slowly starting to get to Will emotionally. The shots in this scene truly create a sense of separation, but then of a newly found union.
What are you so scared of?
It makes sense that Will doesn't trust people and what they have to offer. He was abandoned by the people who were supposed to love him the most, and was abused by all the different foster families he lived with. This is most apparent in the scene where he breaks up with Skylar. His entire fears and insecurities are exposed at their peak.
What do you want to know? What? That I don't have 12 brothers?
Yeah.
That I'm a fucking orphan? No,
Yeah.
you don't want to hear
I
that.
didn't know
No,
that.
you don't want to hear that. You don't
I
want to hear
didn't
that I
know
got
it.
fucking cigarettes put out of me when I was a little kid.
The use of handheld camera causes a sense of closeness that feels so real, as if we were placed in the room with them.
Don't tell me you want to hear that shit!
Later in the film, when Skylar is at the airport, she looks around as she, as well as the audience, expect Will to show up. But instead of that, we cut to Will sitting on a park bench, watching planes leave. This parallel editing technique creates empathy for both of them, because they want to be together. It's only in the end that the possibility opens up again, but whether they end up together is open for interpretation. Granted, the outcome in Good Will Hunting is relatively predictable, but the strength of the film is found in the individual moments, in its portrayal of conflicted characters and how they become better. Will lives in his cocoon of emotional safety out of fear that people won't love him back because he's afraid to get hurt. But the thing is, we're all afraid. Everyone's afraid of discomfort, of getting hurt, or what other people may think of us. But the experiences most worth having are difficult, the ones where we're at our most vulnerable, where we can get hurt.
I ask you about love, probably quote me a sonnet. But you've never looked at a woman and been totally vulnerable. Known someone that could level you with her eyes.
One thing pretty much anyone can relate to is that being vulnerable is the scariest thing in the world, except for leading a life where you throw in the towel, knowing you could have been more. That's something you never recover from. Good Will Hunting reminds us to take risks, to expose ourselves, to go after things, to do something you're not quite sure of. Maybe it's getting up at 5 in the morning, going for a run. Maybe it's taking that difficult class you've been thinking of joining. Or maybe it's that you go see about a girl.
Well, I'm Will.
Skylar.
Skylar. I was wondering maybe we could get together sometime this week.
You know, sit out at a cafe.
I've spoken to the judge, and he's agreed to release you. But under 2 conditions. First condition is that you meet with me every week. And the second condition is that you see a therapist. This is Sean McGuire, Will Hunting.
Maybe you married the wrong woman.
Maybe you should watch your mouth.
I look at you, I don't see an intelligent, confident man. You're terrified of what you might say.
I can't go to California.
Why won't you come? What are you so scared of?
What the fuck am I afraid of?
You're afraid of me, you're afraid that I won't love you back. You know what? I'm afraid too. Fuck it, I want to give it a shot, and at least I'm honest with you.
You'll never have that kind of relationship in a world where you're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road.
This is not your fault. It's not your fault.
Time's up. So that's it? So we're done?
Yeah, that's it. You do what's in your heart, son, you'll be fine.
Hey guys, thank you for watching this video till the end. If you enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to A Matter of Film if you haven't already to get great weekly content. Let us know in the comments what's your favorite performance by Robin Williams. We'll see you next week.